and WhatsApp messages on 09097054450. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning to you. Is that Paul?
Yeah, this is Paul.
Paul, welcome. Let's hear you.
Thank you very much. Morning to your guest. Thank you for your analysis this morning. My friends, if we are getting a trend of we are getting an involved activities in Africa, especially West Africa. So when we look at what is happening now, Gabon, we are battling with Nigeria, we are now having Gabon. We will still have more. We will still have more. But the truth of the matter is that whatever it is that the military are taking over for, you can never compare the military rule to the civilian rule. That's the democracy. And in all areas like what your guest said, it has happened, most of them are just looking for where they will just amass wealth and then gather money for their pocket and move. So what is happening in Gabon? I don't think it will stop there. And then our leaders, they said there is this saying in Hausa that when you see your neighbor's beard catching fire, look for water and rope on your own. So understand now the remaining African leaders who cling into power by not providing services, they have to brace up. And those are the things we are asking the ECOWAS to talk on, to call their members to order. Call all the heads of state that are members of the ECOWAS and by and large the AU. Sit down and talk. Let's face the reality. You are not providing leadership. You are not providing leadership. If you look at the analysis of the Gabon leaders, you will see where what is even helping us here in Nigeria is that we have been the transition for quite some time. And as it stands now, our leaders need to brace up and face reality.
Okay, Paul. All
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Calling on African leaders to rise up and rise up to the occasion and do better so as to avert all of these coups and counter coups coming up in the continent. I'll bring in one more caller and then we get back with my guest 09073530044 and 09087668888. Joseph Jojo, you sent in a message. You say, "Good morning, Ihanacho. In as much as we are against the coup going on now, we are asking our leaders to do the right thing. Gabon is one of the large oil-producing countries in Africa, but their citizens are poor. There are less than 3 million people, yet the government can't make 3 million people better. This is bad. African leaders, wake up. If our leaders continue doing the wrong thing, I fear they will continue experiencing coups in Africa." God bless you. Joseph Jojo, thank you so much for your message. And Abdullahi Mekano says, good morning, sir. Abdullahi Mekano, is the recent military coup in Gabon is a clear signal of injustice of African leaders. Bongo family have been in power for over 53 years. What a continent. Really bad. Thank you very much, Abdullahi Mekano. Now, Mr. Kola, let's talk about, I'm still going to stay with you on the judiciary. And this time around, let's talk about the bribery in the judiciary. In 2020, there was a report of by the ICPC that a bribery, or the exchange of cash or monies went on to the tune of about 9.5 billion naira. And just recently, the lead justice of the Kano Election Petition Tribunal, Justice Azinge, raised an alarm that lawyers are trying to, bribe the justices of that court. At this time, who do we blame? Would it be the lawyers? Would it be the system? Would it be the justices themselves? Who do we blame for this level of corruption in the judiciary?
Well, starting with my lord who made that statement at the election petition, she has since come out to say that she was misquoted because the Nigerian Bar Association and a lot of our colleagues came out robustly and said, please mention who the senior lawyer is who tried to do this, and she has refused to mention. She said she was misquoted, and if she's not able to accept whoever did this, then there's very little that anybody can do. Be that as it may, um, I hear about it. Um, I must confess, I hear about money exchanging hands. It has never happened in my presence. Uh, I don't have the evidence. If truly this does go on, and then it doesn't spell well for our judiciary, and this is one of the reasons why we must have impeccable people uh, manning our courts. They are the gateway to the conscience of the country. The courts are the last hope of the common man. It is horrible to have a judge who will subvert justice in place, because the whole society will collapse. We must have incorruptible judges, people who will do justice even though the heavens fall, so that we have that belief in the rule of law. Once you have a corrupt policeman, a corrupt judge, etc., the whole society is going to fall into chaos and disarray. So I think the National Judicial Council uh, would would have to, do more in weeding out the bad eggs in amongst us. That's all I can say, because judges are human. We must protect them. We must make sure that they are properly paid and given the right tools to dispense justice. And if we have bad eggs amongst us, then they must be shown the way. They must be shown the way out.
Well said. Let's squeeze in some more callers. 09073530044 and 09087668888. Your messages go to 09097054450. Don't forget, you can watch us live on YouTube and on Facebook. We're streaming live there. Hello, good morning.
Uh, my friend, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Paul on the line.
Paul, good to have you.
Thank you. You see, in Nigeria, where all of us are living, the rights of the citizens are not even respected in our Nigerian law. Let me put it that way. Because whenever you have issues, you cry to any person, any lawyer in Nigeria, being me a Nigerian today, it's who know who matters in Nigeria. Our right is not protected at all. And we have no anywhere to cry to. If not this radio station and other radio stations that give us the privilege to speak or burn our credit as this may be. So what I want to tell you in essence is that the Nigerian judiciary, they are not doing anything. Case have been there. Let me put the case of Nnamdi Kanu have been taken. Not that one. There are some cases that we are having in this very place and being state, and we are not even having anymore to speak anything. If you want to say anything, somebody will tell you that person that are ahead of you. So what are we talking about, please?
All right.
It's only God will depend on my God and my faith. I give good money.
Thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate you calling in. And now, Mr. Alakpeni, let's look at this. Paul just raised a very important angle to this conversation. The disregard for the rule of law in the Nigerian states today. We can cite readily a few examples. He just cited the Nnamdi Kanu situation. There's a situation in court where the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, where the courts have said, look, let the man go, or granted him bail, but the DSS held him back. We've also seen, the former chairman or the suspended chairman of the EFCC, Abdul Rashid Bawa, also still in custody, hasn't been charged many days, almost 3 months now. What do you make of the abuse of power and the disregard for rule of law in this country?
It's abominable, and I totally condemn it. And if there's anyone who should know better, it is the current president. He was on the other side. If you remember, during the Abacha years, He was one of those pro-democracy activists who fought the Abacha regime to a standstill. He fled for his life because he was going to be assassinated. He ran abroad. He continued from there with all the pro-democracy groups. There was Campaign for Democracy. There was Jacon. There was Nadeko. He was a Nadeko chieftain. So, and he says, "Oh, I've always wanted to be president. I've been preparing for this all my life." For someone who was on the other side, you saw how Chief MK Abiola passed away in mysterious circumstances in detention. You know, even though the government has tried to assault his family by conferring on him the GCFR and etc., naming the national stadium after him, he didn't bring back their breadwinner. You saw how his wife was assassinated on the streets of Oregon in Lagos. You know, coming in now, I think he should be one who should know the importance of the rule of law more than anybody. Flinging in the EFCC chairman into detention without taking him to court, it shouldn't even happen under his watch. The first thing he ought to have done was to release Nnamdi Kanu and say, okay, let's do this to assuage the feelings of the people. I suspect Nnamdi Kanu will have just quietly gone to the UK to go and attend to his health if he's as sick as what we have been made to believe. And also, if you free him, the gentleman who sits in a studio in Finland issuing directives to unknown gunmen and people should sit at home, that would cease completely. If Nnamdi Kanu is seen to be free and he says, "Oh, please do not listen to this gentleman anymore. This is not what we stand for." Why would you? I mean, look at the show of shame that happened in court with the SSS fighting the prison official. Thank God that guy was not killed. Oh, and you saw this also under if we're condemning the former general that was there before that he didn't follow the rule of law, you saw what happened to Yeli Sowore in court, during his treason charges with DSS or SSS, whatever they call them, wrestling with him to the floor inside the courtroom. So our current president needs to move fast and heal the nation. Otherwise, he's going to be seen as more draconian than even a former general. He cannot be president of a free country and allow the security forces to be running amok. There is no reason for the show of shame that happened in the Federal High Court in Lagos, especially when this gentleman, don't get me wrong, I have no sympathies. I have no sympathies for Emefiele. It caused a lot of hardship. He descended into the arena by trying to run for president when he was CBN governor. He did all sorts, but you also have the other part who will argue for him and say, "Oh, this man sanitized our election. He didn't allow money to move around. They couldn't bribe." So it depends on the divide and who you are speaking for. But we cannot stifle the voice of reason. We cannot stifle law and order. If Emefiele has done something wrong, let him have his day in court. He had an injunction restraining the government and the security forces from arresting him. Yet the court order was disobeyed. They took him to court, and I think the judge that even entertained that should have flung it out and say, you are in contempt of court. There is a subsisting order. Go and obey it. And that was what the third judge said. So this is an abuse of court process. I'm not going to entertain this case. So if Bauer has done something wrong, I go to EFCC quite often. I don't like their practices. They believe that they themselves believe that they are above the rule of law. This is the irony. This is the irony. People who have abused the rule of law, EFCC itself disobeys court orders. Now Bauer is in detention, and we're still all clamoring that the rule of law should be followed for his sake, or for whoever's sake. It doesn't matter whether he was EFCC chairman or not, or he's suspended. The rule of law is rule of law, and it should apply uniformly. Bauer himself used to disobey. Now the chickens have come home to roost. Even the CBN governor too, there were court orders. There were these people filing injunction. Oh, you cannot do this. People are suffering. Don't remove all the old naira notes. If it wasn't that it was battled to a standstill, he was not going to obey court orders. Now he is running to court for the court to save him.
Well
you see
said.
the irony of life. We must just maintain strong institutions. President Tinubu is there today. He doesn't know what will happen if he leaves. A couple of weeks ago, Bazoum was president in Niger. He's in custody now.
Very, very, very insightful. Let's wrap this up quickly. Jermaine sent in a message. Jermaine, listening from South Africa. You say, "Good morning, Iheanacho. I think every citizen must read and understand the book Animal Farm by George Orwell. It's a prophecy about African politics, in my opinion. God bless Africa." Thank you so much, Jermaine, tuning in, and thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Now, Ngara Gabriel from Life Camp, you say, "Another coup d'etat in Gabon. African leaders still need to relearn the principles of democracy to avoid the military insurrection as in some African countries now. I'm really grateful that this one happened in Gabon, which isn't in West Africa, as a result of ECOWAS, who has been doing all that they could to restore democracy in Niger Republic, would have also been warming up now. If really ECOWAS cares for any nation within its bloc, they would have started or stated in their charter that they would sanction any nation that rigs election, and this would have been cheering news in West Africa instead of protecting anyone the country presents to them as precedent. And this would be a good place to leave the conversation. Mr. Alakweni, what would be your final thoughts as we close in 1 minute, please?
Well, I think we're all seeing what is happening. This is a pointer for our leaders. It's not going to be business as usual. I also use this opportunity to call on our military. The military is under civilian rule. They're subject to civilian rule, and they must protect our democracy and not usurp it. They must protect our democracy. The commander-in-chief might be a civilian. They owe loyalty to him, and they must protect our country. The military is there to protect the territorial integrity of Nigeria. The military is not there to rule. They are not trained to rule. They don't know anything about ruling, and we've seen that. So what we need to do is our military should protect our country and protect our democracy. God bless Nigeria.
Mr. Kola Alagbini, international human rights lawyer, thank you so much for talking with us this morning. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure talking with you as well.
All right.
Thank you.
And let's close it now. Thank you to everyone who's been a part of the conversation this morning. Let's do this again tomorrow at the top of the hour 9. We'll bring you fresh perspectives, still the conversations in the polity. My name is Iheanacho Prince. Business News is up next. Right after that, Martha takes over on the Midday Extra. Keep it locked here.